on and see. So go ahead and talk, Larry, and let me hear if my phone lets me hear it. Diane, can you hear us live? Let me check. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello, hello. We're live. So, okay, all right. So yes, we can hear everything, and everything's good. It's on a 2-minute delay, so that's why, Larry. So let's just. Linda hears us. P. Clayton hears us from the UK. Ooh, welcome, sir or ma'am. Glad to have you. All right, so Larry, we're live. Go ahead. We've got a new system going, folks. Today is Monday, August the 12th. Larry is with us. And I'm sorry, I look erect because I've been working out in the yard. So, but I thought, I don't know if we've got a picture up, so I'm just going to go ahead and let you see how ridiculous I look today. Larry, take it away. What happened to your sound?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Test 1.
You're back. You're back.
Hear me now. All right. Hello, folks.
Yeah, you're back.
As Mary Ellen was telling you, we're going up with a new system. So if we botch it, please forgive us. But if you have questions, go ahead and start sending them into the chat now so we can deal with them. What I want to talk to you today about, guys, is we are in trouble. Trouble is coming in a major way. In the different cases around the world where countries have gone from whatever existing government they had to socialism or communism, you go through phases and they're consistent. You see the same phases through it all. And unfortunately now, we're going into the last phase. And the next to the last phase is one that deals with rioting, violence, turmoil, total disruption and overload of their present form of government. This bothers me greatly because I know the path we're headed on. I had told Mary Ellen earlier today that sometimes I wish I didn't know what I know, because unfortunately I see it coming, and I see things coming, not because I'm a prophet or some of that kind of goofy stuff, just because I've seen it before. And if you watch for patterns in many things, watch the pattern with your dog or your cat, or watch the pattern with birds. Once you see the pattern, it usually stays the same. And so what we are going into the next to the last phase, and this is the one that by design breaks down the in situ government, what they call in situ, or the sitting government, the present government. And then that sets the stage for the last phase, which is the transformation to communism or socialism. And we're there now. What bothers me about it is this. When this gets started, well, to get this started, people like George Soros and the others that are backing Antifa and all of these different groups trying to separate us and destroy any chance we have of keeping our form of government. What they will do in the beginning is they will actually set up fake riots. They will literally have people dressed up and act like they're conservative, moral, Christian people to attack the Antifa people. If you don't believe that, a good example would be look at Charlotte, that riot there. One thing we noticed, or I told you about, was when you looked at the people with Antifa or whatever they were called, when you look at their masks, their clubs, their signs, and then you look at the people that were against them, the quote unquote Trumpers, what was peculiarly odd was the fact that they had the same kind of masks and clubs and signs. So it's as though they went to the same store, Riots R Us store, and they all got their outfits for the day. Those people were staged. That was staged, much of it. And then generally what will happen when you stage it in the beginning, then it normally will carry on its own. And that's what I fear is coming here. I don't believe Trump people, conservatives, I don't believe we're going to get out in the streets and we're going to riot and we're going to attack and beat up or try to beat up or kill radical socialists. We're not. That's not what we do. That's not how we're made. So they're going to have to fix that. And the way to fix it is to get them to look and dress like us, say for us, and get them to do it. And then, of course, when they start, then the Antifa or whatever you want to call that side, what they do is, well, then they've got to retaliate. And then when they retaliate, they beat up some real Christian, conservative, moral people. And then revenge takes hold. And the next thing you know, it's a bloodbath.
Are you
Why
saying?
would they do something? Why would they do something like that?
Hey,
What?
Larry, let me ask a question for clarification. You say the Trump lookalikes will only fake beat up Antifa, and then they will be beaten up by Antifa?
Yeah, I mean, it'll just all be fake in the beginning. You'll have people dressed up as Trumpers or acting like Trumpers, and then they will attack Antifa people and beat up on them. Of course, the Antifa people, out of revenge, will find conservative Trumpers and beat up on them. And the people that were beat up, their families and friends will get mad, so they'll retaliate. And you start this fight. And what's really bad, here we are in an election that's based off 50-50, which means we've got to get Trump's soft base to come out and vote. But when violence starts, what you're going to see happen, and they know it, by the way, what you will see happen is family and friends of our people, the soft base, family and friends will shut down people from being able to participate because they're not going to want to be a part of any of this kind of violence. Even on the sidelines, just talking about being with Trump, they're going to have ammunition to back our soft base off of participating. And then, of course, you'll have the problem with Election Day where you can expect Antifa people to be at voting precincts and scaring people from voting. It's a disastrous move. It truly is.
Now,
and unfortunately, it's coming.
What about the militia groups being at the polls to help stop the Antifa?
Well, that's part of the problem. when this rioting and pushing and shoving and hitting and beating starts, then you're going to have militia groups around the country that are going to get fired up and get hootered up, and they're going to participate, and that just makes the violence worse. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It has to happen if the pattern holds true, as it has with all other places in history. It has to. So what do we do about it? What is the answer? The answer, folks, is not a very good one. It's not very rewarding. But we have to hold the line. We have to hold our line. We have got to inform people that we know and associate with that start to get scared, afraid to put a Trump sign in their yard, afraid they'll be attacked or their house burned or whatever. We must convince our people to stay the course. Stay the course. If we don't retaliate, if we hold the line and just don't fall sucker to retaliation, then their plan won't work. Their plan relies 100% on being able to do something to make our side overreact and start fighting back. Now, I'm not saying let them walk all over us. Of course, I'm not saying that.
Hey, Larry, I need to interrupt you for a second and answer people in the chat. Larry asked for questions. I've seen everything you've been asking. Everybody's on the same bandwagon. Please let Larry listen to what he's saying, because this is really, really current and important. And then we will get to that question you're all asking, okay? Please let him finish.
Yes. Well, I won't be much longer on this. It's so important that y'all know it's coming. Don't be shocked. Don't be scared. And we've got to do what we've said we've got to do all along. We've got to communicate with people. We've got to communicate with the soft base, people that we can touch or that we do touch. And if we let them know that this is coming, and we let them know that it's all a setup and that it's staged, it can deflect a whole lot of trouble when it happens. Now, what are the questions, Mary?
Well, I'm going to ask one, staying on this topic first. Do you want us to get in touch with those militia group that we worked with 3 years ago to tell them? No?
No.
Okay. All right.
Definitely not.
All right. James says they want a civil war. The only way to bring in the world government now is to wreck the USA, tear down the US first. Okay. Now everybody is wanting to know about Epstein. Is he still alive? Somebody said that the electricity was turned off, and Tony Rodham, it was the one that was in the jail, and you see Epstein being wheeled out. That was actually Tony Rodham, so there, a lot of people are thinking that he's been moved to Grenada or someplace like that under CIA control.
All right. I did check on this. And from as official a source as you can get, here's what I know. This is not my opinion. This is what I know. Epstein is dead. D-E-A-D, dead. He is dead. The problem is, how did he die? Now, in the world I come from, Epstein was gone a long time ago. You see, when he got charged, when he got put in jail, when they denied his bail, the die was cast for Epstein. based off of, here again, the patterns, right? The patterns. Epstein looks to me, my opinion here, it looks to me like another Arkansas. Now, what do I mean? Well, he was on suicide watch. And then supposedly they take him off of suicide watch. And then somehow in the blink of an eye, within a day or so, he supposedly kills himself. We do not know whether he hung himself. I don't know what he did. But what makes it, to me, as an Arkansas is the fact that that man, if he were going down, we know he could bring Bill Clinton along with him, because Clinton, we know, at least the number we know at this point was 26 times he was on the plane. But I assure you, there was a large cast of insiders in Washington, D.C. that were involved. And if Epstein started rolling over on people, a lot of folks were going to go down. So therefore, he was never meant to go to trial. Remember what I told you. When I was asked, do you think he'll go to jail? I said, no. No, he wouldn't have. He couldn't have gone to jail. They would have rigged the court system where he got off. He would never have gone to jail because of the very reason I'm telling you. He could bring too many big people down with him. Now, the alternative to letting him skate out of it was for him to be killed, for him to die. And when he died, all of this stuff dies with him. And it's always funny in an Arkansas. Somebody kills himself in a way that's not really very possible. For example, one guy I remember shot himself in the back of the head twice. I told you all the story of the guy that we found the records in the trunk of the car. And right before he testified for me, they found him in a dump in Saline County, and he had cut his hands and feet off. He had severed his brain stem, doused himself with gasoline and set himself on fire and threw himself in the dump. And that was ruled a suicide. But the consistent thing about all Arkansans is who benefits from the person dying. In the case of the guy that cut his hands and feet off and threw himself in the dump and set himself on fire, well, the one that was going down was the Clintons, with their involvement with Jim McDougal and Whitewater. We had all the records we could get him. When that guy died, it was over. Well, look at this. Isn't it odd that one of the people we can identify readily at this point that was involved with Epstein was none other than Bill Clinton? So once again, the secrets that he may have revealed could have put Bill Clinton in jail, or certainly in a bad way. So consequently, he dies. When he died, it all goes away. That's my take on it. Number one, proof positive, he is dead. Number two, how he died and why he died, that was my opinion. I don't know for sure, and we may never truly know. You know, it's funny that you get an autopsy run, and then even after the autopsy is run, they still can't tell you the cause of death. That's a little bizarre. But that's my opinion. Anybody else, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, was this to silence him? So it all goes.
Yes.
And
yes.
Why do you say it all goes away? Because they say the notebook is there with all these names and people that are implicated.
Because you have to have a case by which to enter his notebook or his book of names into the court. And since he's dead, there will be no case. And unless somebody can pick somebody and prosecute off of his list of names, it won't be explored. And his book with all the names in it, I assure you, 2 or 3 weeks from now, will have mysteriously disappeared. Just the way it goes. I don't like saying it, but it's just the truth.
Let's see. Alex Jones has pictures of him on a gurney proving it wasn't really him.
Yeah. No. Look, guys, we've talked about this until we're pretty tired of talking about it. The internet, the internet can manipulate anything. Anything. You know, how do you know the picture? And I'm not knocking Alex in any way. I'm just saying, how do you know that the picture Alex has got with him in a wheelchair wasn't made before he died? When he was being moved from one cell to another, from one prison to another. We just don't know. But Epstein is dead. He is dead. Certainly with the people that I have been in contact with who would absolutely, positively guarantee no. And there would be no reason for them to not tell me.
Do you have any advice for victims?
For the victim, you mean the victim of his molestation?
Well, the victims that have been, wanting to prosecute him, which helped to put him in jail. The victims of everybody in his book.
The only thing they might have a shot at doing would be going after the estate in civil court. But I do not know how his estate was set up so that if he died, you know, who's got control of it? What does he have that's in the estate, et cetera, et cetera. But the only claim the only recourse the victims have at this point is to file civil action against the estate of Epstein.
If he was put into witness protection, would you be told?
Mm-hmm. I would have with the people I talked with. I certainly would have.
So,
you know, I can't make any of you, I can't make Alex Jones, I can't make any of you that believe he's alive and being stashed somewhere and taken care of. I can't do anything to dissuade you. I'm not going to. It's not my job. All I can do is tell you what I know that I would be willing to gamble my life on, and that is that he's dead. Not to mention what I know about the pattern, which means they had two options. Either let him, you know, walk in court and get away with everything, which might have been very difficult for them to pull off, they might feel. Or the other way is just to kill him off. I was involved in a case like this with Jim McDougal. Jim McDougal called me. I go to the prison. I see him. He tells me they're going to kill me. And I said, what can I do to help you? He said, well, there's a guy that's working on my book, McDougal's book. He said, would you get hold of him and have him come and see me immediately because they're going to kill me? I said, yes, I would. When I got home, I got in touch with the guy with the book. He was going to go down the following week, meet with McDougal, get all the information. The next day, McDougal was dead. He ended up dying over the fact that they had given him like 5 times his amount of heart medicine. But I can't get any of you to not believe something that you want to believe. I can't. And please understand, I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm just saying that's not my job. All I can do is tell you what I know and put it in the parameters of it's either something I know, which I did, or something I think or I believe, which I told you that as well. Anything else, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, a couple. How will they cover this up?
Well, they're going to cover it up in news cycles. There's not much to worry about on their end because with this being a presidential election year, with all the stuff you've got going between Trump and AOC and the Democratic candidates for the presidency and all of that, the only thing that could keep his case alive would be the media. And the media is going to drop it like a hot potato. It will not be allowed. I mean, it's going to. I mean, y'all just need to get ready. It's going to be a gossip story and a half on the internet. It's going to be the conspiracy story of the day. But it's going nowhere. He's dead.
Okay.
He is dead.
James said this was CIA. They're using pedophilia to blackmail people, and they had the most to gain.
I would not, James, be surprised if the agency had something to do with it. Not at all. But remember, that's one of the things that Barr is working on in Durham. They're working on Brennan and Clapper. I think it was Brennan, that was the CIA. And one of the problems with what they've done to President Trump is that the CIA actively engaged in getting information and trying to get stuff on President Trump from within the United States. And they are not allowed to do that by law. When the CIA finds somebody that they're concerned about and it has to do with the United States, you know, inside our borders, the rules are that they must turn it over to the FBI. They cannot be involved in any ongoing investigation within the borders of the United States. They did. And that's one of the charges that Brennan is going to have to deal with. Trust me. He is in trouble over that point right there.
Okay, there was, what does this mean now that the Clintons and others won't get prosecuted for pedophilia, at least with the Epstein case?
Well, what does it mean? That's a good question. What does it mean? It means that it's the status quo. It means that life's going to go on for the bad guys exactly like they've had it going for years and years and years. They were nervous. They're going to be relaxed now. They're not going to be that nervous because they know they know legally with his death it's over, and they know also the media is not going to drive this story, the mainstream. And I think y'all all need to take into account something. Do you have any idea how many people in America don't even know what you're saying when you mention Epstein's name? I'm going to say 90% of the country don't even know who he was, what he was, any of it. They don't. They just don't. They're more concerned about putting food on their table, shoes on their kids' feet, getting a job, taking care of their job. You know, they're concerned about all these things. That's not on their priority list. And if y'all don't believe me, go to a local mall nearest you and start at one end and go to the other end and ask people all throughout the mall, from everybody you run into, if they know what was up with Epstein, what he was being charged with. Okay. You'll be shocked at what you hear.
Probably. Another question. Do you trust Barr? Oh, wait, let me get further up. Do you think with all the shootings, will Congress be able to force Trump in a corner on gun legislation?
Mary Ellen, your phone's cracking up some, so it's a little bit hard for me to hear you. But relative to that, I think President Trump is going to have to bend some, but don't worry, because there's no way damaging legal efforts are going to come out of Congress relative to the Second Amendment. It's just not. They don't have the votes. They don't have the strength. They're doing what they've always done every time there's a mass shooting or a gunman or whatever. Every time that happens, what do you always see? They come out screaming for gun control, and it gets hot and it gets heavy, and you think something bad's going to happen. They're going to outlaw this, that, or the other, and then in reality, nothing changes. It stays the same till the next one, and then they get hoovered up again.
Do you trust Barr taking into consideration his defense of the Ruby Ridge sniper?
Yes. Yes, I do. No, I didn't like his Ruby Ridge involvement. I was there. I wasn't there, but that was Bo Gritz and Jack McClam were there because of me. No, I don't like what he did. I don't like a lot of what he did before. I do not. But we've all done things in the past that, thank heaven, God allows us all to be forgiven and to move forward and try to do right. I believe personally, Barr, I know Durham is, I believe they are seriously working on this case because think about it this way, you could be a liberal. You can be a liberal, and you don't want what these progressives are trying to get either. Remember, just because you're a liberal, if they transform us to socialist or communist, when they do that, you will lose your rights to speak out as a liberal for the things you believe or want to fight for. So I think, without a doubt, no, I know this, Barr understands, and so does Durham. They understand fully that they must do their job this time, and they must play it by the book this time, or there will not be a next time. And for all that either one of them have done wrong, I believe they very much appreciate the value of being an American and keeping the country that way.
Okay, should the girls that caused this jailing of Epstein, should these girls be worried?
Say what, man? You were cutting out. Should the what girls?
The girls who were suing Epstein, should they be worried?
If you mean for their lives, no, I shouldn't think so. Should they be worried about the integrity of their suits? Yeah, probably. I just don't know how his estate is set up or was set up. So I don't know how they get to go into that estate. And see, the problem they've got is, first off, they have to prove that he did sexually molest them or wrongfully captured them or took them. All right, you got to prove that first. Well, since he's dead, you're not going to have a court to prove that. So I don't know how you would go into civil court. Now, this is my opinion, guys, strictly my opinion. How would you go into civil court and demand damages for something that has not been proven to have occurred? Maybe that's not what you want to hear, but I'm here to tell you the truth. It's going to be a complicated case for them. Very much so now that he's gone.
Infowars Zone says, I'd like to think he repented. I'm not sure who you're thinking about. He who repented.
I would think he's probably talking about Barr. I would hope, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He may be talking about Epstein being that he's dead, and hopefully he repented and he goes to heaven instead of hell. I don't know.
So there's some interaction among people about Q, whether he's legitimate or just trying to get patriots to sit back while our country is overthrown.
Now you said U or Q?
Q, sorry.
Well, guys, I will say this for that Q thing. A number of things that site has said turned out not to be true. I don't know their site at all, certainly not well enough to give you a value judgment overall. But you must be very careful, because it's exactly a site like Q has that could be used for disinformation and to put out people that put down people that are trying to do stuff. So be careful with it. Be careful not only with it, but all sites like that. You just never know, Mary Ellen, or any of you. You don't know the true purpose behind these sites. It could be that he's just having a ball and seeing how many people he can get to sign up to subscribe and maybe even make money. It could be that. It could be that he's got some source somewhere that he values as being truthful. Or it could be that he's strictly there for a disinformation network.
Yeah.
I don't know which of the three it is, but it's going to be one of the three.
So here's an insightful question from Diane. Will they try to accuse Trump of being involved with Epstein's death, saying that he's trying to cover up his involvement with pedophilia, even though Trump was not?
If there is a way that they can, in the remotest way possible, somehow imply Trump was involved, they will. You can put that in the bank. I don't know exactly how they can do that, but I assure you that's on the rise. It's coming. You're going to start hearing stuff, I would bet, my opinion, here guys, my opinion, you're going to start hearing stuff from people saying they've seen his little black book and this name was in it. I can see where CNN and MSNBC could have reporters coming on and saying they looked at the black book and Trump's name was in it predominantly. They're going to do that. They're going to do stuff like that. They are all in to get rid of Trump.
Or this one, Larry, is Israel involved in Epstein's strangulation?
Is Israel involved in Epstein's what?
Strangulation.
Don't know. I doubt it. Very strongly doubt it. But that's my opinion. I do not know. I don't know who killed him. And I guess it's something I should say. I don't know if anybody killed him. But for me, my opinion is I've seen this too many times. So I believe he was murdered in the interest of cleaning up the mess that he could cause ahead of time.
Okay, I will leave my reaction out of this next question. Why do they claim the New Testament is altered and now is anti-Semitic? Why do Zionists act or call the shots in the U.S.? Why are there new laws if we question Israel or Mossad? It is anti-Semitic.
And what was that last part about? Why do they question what?
Says, why new laws if we question Israel or Mossad? It is anti-Semitic.
There are people within the progressive movement, I know, and they are out to destroy Israel. Just as much as Iran or any of the Muslim countries, they want Israel gone. And they know Israel is a great stumbling block to totally taking over the Middle East and all the oil, etc. So just about as bad as if there is any remote way to blame Trump, so too would I say that about Israel. But I don't think there are going to be any new laws as a result of this that are going to harm Israel as long as President Trump is in office.
Okay, James says counterintelligence is trying to get Trump to jump on the wagon so they can use it against Trump.
I would not doubt that at all. I would not doubt that. But I think, no, I know President Trump, to hear the mainstream media tell it as they portray President Trump, he's a goofus. You know, he's not very smart, so they would let you believe. But let me assure you folks, he's not stupid. He's probably one of the smartest, slickest people we've seen in a long, long time. Certainly in the world of politics. So he's not going to be as gullible as one might think. And I certainly don't think he's going to take the bait. And if counterintelligence tries, they will fail. They will fail.
What will happen to Roger Stone?
Well, at this point, I don't know. I think when everything is said and done, we're all going to find out that Roger Stone was not as deeply, intimately as involved with Trump as they're trying to make him out to be. You'll notice you haven't seen President Trump jump in their face and say, you know, he was a friend of his and et cetera, et cetera. You know, I don't know what's going to happen to Stone. But if he can hold on until Trump is reelected, if he is in 2020, then he'll be okay. If Trump loses in 2020, he will be another one among the cast of casualties. Now, I'm not saying they'll kill him, but he will be probably put in jail. And you don't have to, in this new form of government we have now, I think most of you agree, and you know it, you've seen it yourselves. In this new form of government we have in America today, even though we're still in the transition period, we're not a full-blown socialist communist country yet. But in the system that we have today, you don't have to be guilty of anything to go to prison for it. If you're connected and support President Trump, you're going to get framed pretty assuredly.
All right, Mark Taylor and Kim Clement. Oh, okay. Wait a second. We got a couple things. I got to scroll back up. Hold on. We got some. Somebody said, "What about fireman Mark Taylor and Prophet Kim Clement saying Q is real and Trump is anointed by God?" Watchers Chronicle says Mark Taylor and Kim Clement are false prophets and getting rich off Q disinformation. All right, there's more comments.
Let me say this about Mark Taylor. I have talked with Mark a few times. And folks, Mark Taylor believes what he says. He believes it. He is not a fraud. Now, the accuracy of some of his prophecies, I don't know. But do not judge that man as being a fraud. Please don't. He believes what he says he believes, and he believes it with his heart and soul. That doesn't mean he can't be wrong. But when you're doing prophecy, that's out of my pay grade, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But when you're doing prophecy, you can misread or misunderstand some of the signs that you see.
He even admits that.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, doing prophecies, he doesn't have the luxury either. In my case, what I tell you that's going to happen or that is real, I tell you. And it damn well better come through, just like I said. But you see, I've got a safety valve. I can say, on the other hand, this is what I believe. Can't swear to it, but I believe this. Well, see, when you're doing prophecy, you can't do that. Supposedly, if you're doing prophecy, whatever you see or say, that's it. And you can be wrong. You can't. He can be wrong. Not because he's a fraud or a liar. He can just be wrong by interpreting the signs or whatever it is that comes to him.
Larry, keep talking. Somebody's trying to come in my door.
All right. I hope that helps y'all to understand that, Mark, to my knowledge, is a good guy. He is a good guy. And he's trying. And I would never speak ill of him. And I certainly don't want anybody from here, from our group, speaking ill of him as though, I told you, because I didn't. Now, Q, I've already explained the situation at Q. I personally, my opinion, once again, my opinion with Q, I don't trust him. I just don't. But I gave you the 3 areas that he's going to be in one of them.
Nothing was happening, so I'm fine. Is the Epstein death a case of who you're going to call?
Say what?
Is the Epstein death a case of who you're going to call?
It's exactly what it is. Who are you going to call? Who are you going to call to get to the truth of it, the bottom of it? Who are you going to call to do anything about it? That's what I was saying. Under our present form of government we have today, even though we're not socialist or communist, but even what we have today, who are you going to call? Where are you going to go to get fair treatment? Where are you going to go to get the truth?
Comment, anyone in the way of world government must go. Israel, Russia, Libya, Syria, Iran, capitalism.
You're cutting out on that one again. Read that again.
Anyone in the way of world government must go. Israel, yes. Russia, Libya, Syria, Iran, capitalism. Okay. somebody suggests the two most dangerous people in the world, Assange and Epstein. So look for Assange next to die.
I would not disagree with that, actually. He's extremely vulnerable. And as he loses the safety of wherever he was, you know, Assange is in trouble. He will be eliminated.
Here's a good comment. They're trying to water down the populations with immigrants. They want no borders, no religion, no sovereignty. A tree with no roots is easier. A tree with no roots is easier to push over.
Yes.
Yes. Is Antifa actually the LGBT community dressed in black?
I don't know.
And we see tanks and military vehicles down the highway in China. Are they going to invade Hong Kong? The airport is closed today.
I would tell you, my opinion is China is not going to tolerate Hong Kong at any level of independence anymore. They tried limited independence, and it looks like that's blowing up in their face. So I would not be surprised at all to see China with full force and power go in and take over that country, that area. They're going to do it. In China's mind, it's their property. It's theirs. Now, the question's going to be, if they do that, what will the rest of the world do? And the answer to that is nothing. Because, guess what? Guess what, Mary Ellen? Who are you going to call? Who are you going to call to stop them? So I really don't think the UN's going to. We're not.
Has the heat been turned up fully on the slow boiling frog? Interesting comment.
On the what, frog?
Slow boiling frog. You know, the frog in the pot of cold water, you slowly turn up the heat until he's dead.
Well, if you're referring to our situation in this country, are we moving at a slow pace and things are about to blow? Yes. Every day we get closer to what is called the event. The event. And the way you can identify the event, going back to Einstein and all of those guys, remember what I told you about that? You can take a ball, put it on the end of a string, and spin it in a circle. And it goes at one speed. Then I want you to take that string, cut it in half, and put the ball on the end of that. With the same amount of energy spinning it, you'll notice the ball is going much, much faster. And so the conclusion is that as you get closer to the event would be in the ball and the string is, of course, your hand where you're spinning it. As you get closer to the event, time speeds up. Things speed up. So I know through this theory, which has proven true in many cases, but I know in this theory, we're getting closer to the event every day because things are happening at a much faster pace than ever before. I mean, change is happening all the time, fast now. The question is, what is that event? In our case, what is the event? And the event can be one of two things. It can be the total transformation of our form of government to our way of life, or it can be where we reestablish our form of government in this country as being the law. It's the same event. It's just which one of those things do you consider the event to be?
Okay.
It's the struggle of a lifetime, guys. This is, as I have told many of you that have heard me for years, the event I see is a defining moment. And defining moments come rarely throughout history. I mean, you can go entire generations and not have a defining moment. We've got for this nation probably as significant a defining moment as we did the day our founding fathers decided to revolt from England. It's that big. It's bigger, believe it or not, than World War II and World War I, Korea, Vietnam, all of it. It's bigger than all of that. You say, well, how can that be? Simple. World War I, World War II, we were never under the threat of losing our form of government, our country. We were never under that threat. If we were, certainly not like we are now. Guys, November 2020, count the days until then. And on November 2020, we are either going to still be America as we know and love it and wish it to stay, or we're going to have lost it forever.
And that, I'm going to say, I know we've got more questions coming in, but we're out of time. And
no, let's take the rest of the questions, please, honey, right quick.
All right.
Like you know that.
All right. So, but I want to emphasize what you just said. In November 2020, we either keep America as we know it, or we will have lost it forever. And that is a statement that we need to be spreading the word on. So please, please, please help spread the word on that, because we need people participating in helping us make sure that the soft base votes.
Mary Ellen, let me say this to everybody. I know there are a lot of you out there. Probably not a lot, because not that many people even listen to us. But I know there are a lot of you out there that are probably wondering, well, you keep saying help us, but you don't tell us what we can do directly. And I don't. I mean, yes, we tell you, Mary Ellen and I, we tell you, please establish dialogue with people that are what we would consider soft-based people, people that are generally for Trump, but they're not Trumpers, all right? They're not hardcore Trump people. We just got to establish communication with them. But as we get closer, as we get further into this cycle, there will be specific missions that we will ask you to do. We will. You will have certainly real work to do. I promise.
I'm going to give an example of this, Larry. Last week, Friday, I think, I went and bought gas and was wearing a local Republican t-shirt. And the guy at the station noticed it. And he was from Bangladesh, but he's an American citizen. and he's a Republican. So my conversation with him was about a minute. We established that we're both Republicans. We both know there's a problem with the country, and that's where I left the conversation. I intend to buy my gas there again next time. Hopefully he's the one that's there, because I think he's the one that runs the store. And we're going to go a little further with another minute of conversation. So what Larry is suggesting that we do, this is an example of, start talking to people. So when we need to get a little more hard hitting, we know who we can go to get extra people to help us with the harder hitting conversation. Did I get that right?
You got it exactly right.
Okay. All right.
So, what else you got?
All right. Roger Stone is ex-CIA, but there's no such thing as ex-CIA, is one comment.
I've known Roger Stone for years, folks. And Roger Stone, in my opinion, he's never been a part of the CIA.
Okay, what will happen to James Comey?
Well, James Comey, if we get the judicial reform that President Trump has planned, James Comey's going to go to jail for a long, long time and be proud that he's in jail, not executed. I will tell you this, James Comey, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan,
Strzok,
and the list goes on of about 15 people. They are going down. They are going down if we win. If we lose, they skate, they're home free. They'll have nothing happen to them.
Do you think Russia is trying to cover up a nuclear blast that killed the scientists and engineers the other week?
Don't know. I truly don't know.
After the event happens, how can I protect my extra food from being taken by FEMA?
Well, if the event turns out to be that we lose in 2020, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself. I would remind everybody once again, just in the interest of safety, any money that you have, cash money that you have, that you cannot reach out and touch, you don't really have it. You don't. Now, if we lose in 2020, and within 6 months to a year, we become a full-throated socialist communist country, there's really going to be no place you can go. You can't bug out and go somewhere and have your stockpile of food and keep you alive, because it doesn't work that way. It won't work that way.
Is that because they can see underground whatever you've got?
Well, it's not so much that, it's just life as we know it will be different. There will be what you and I call freedom every day that we don't even value because we've had it all of our lives. We don't even pay any attention to it. But the very freedoms we enjoy today will be gone. You will no longer have the protection of being a private individual. You will be a number in the collective community. And you will either be a worker bee producing for the collective, or you'll be what you call retirement. And in a socialist communist country, they're not going to shoot you, but they're going to kill you off, usually by the way they've got it planned, by denying you the medicines that you need to stay alive and stay healthy. And then as far as babies and such, only those babies that fit certain criteria will be allowed to make it to adulthood. Now, this all sounds far-fetched. It sounds like some horror movie stuff, and I know it. Shouldn't even tell it to you. It's the truth. But before you go discounting what I've said, and before you go, well, he's crazy, I don't believe him, I would ask you to maybe look, let's just say immediately, at Venezuela. When you change to a socialist form of government as Venezuela did, guess what? Everything in your life changes. Everything.
Question, Mueller, Clapper, are they in the group going to jail?
Clapper is. Mueller, to my knowledge, is not one of the 14, 15 people that's on the list for major charges.
Too bad.
Not yet. Well, not yet. Doesn't mean he escapes. But there is the case of fraud in the way his investigation was conducted. You know, it was the Mueller special prosecutor, and as we find out, he had little, if any, participation in it. So there may be grounds for fraud there. But I assure you, of the cast of characters that are involved directly in the coup, the soft coup, that cast of characters, he's not in the immediate group. And by the way, I did see on television the other day a little snippet, and I was very proud because there was one of the people that was being interviewed actually referred to, we have been in a soft coup. Other than us, I haven't heard people use that term that much, or at least I haven't heard it.
I've heard it
So
once or twice. Once or twice only, yeah.
But it was gratifying to hear somebody else have enough sense to know that's exactly what we've been going through. And by the way, we're still in. It's not over. It is not over by a long shot.
True.
Remember, if the event is 2020 and we go to a new form of government, socialism or communism, all these cast of characters, they walk off. They become basically heroes. Yes, sir. They'll be the heroes, pioneers. Anybody else, Mary Ellen?
Just some repetition. And so I'm going to say, if anybody didn't get their questions asked because you came on late, join us tonight at 8 Central. The number is 712-451-0725. The access code 492-215#. I'll say it again, 712-451-0725, and the access 492-215#. It is in the description written underneath the video, or you can find it also on nicholslive.com. So I will repeat if you have any questions that didn't get answered because they were answered at the beginning, come on the conference call and ask, and I'll repeat what Larry said.
All right, now, one thing I do want to say, can somebody message in, is my voice, the level of this show today, is it better than what you've been getting? Would somebody please?
Absolutely, Larry. Yes. We've got a system now that Larry, we had up to 92 people online. We're down to 87 right now, but we had up to 92.
Now, I'm not going, I promise y'all this, if you'll bring people, we're not going to beat on you for help. But I would like to say to the person that has sent money through the envelope, you've done it twice, I think now, It sure would be nice. We need it again if you can. Please, if you can at all. That's the only source we have going. But having said that, if you will bring people to this program, guys, we're not going to hit them up for money. Doesn't do any good, and then we drive people off. So please bring people to this program daily. The new system, hopefully it clears up the volume of the voice, etc. And I want to thank Mary Ellen for
Diane
and Mary Ellen for doing it at a time when Mary Ellen's bad tied up. But guys, this is our country. It's the only one we got. It's the only one we've got. And crazy as it sounds, this is the best form of government of any on planet Earth.
ever.
And why we would squander it off baffles the mind. You've got a track record of success with our form of government. You've got a track record of failure throughout the ages for socialism and communism. It should be a no-brainer. But there are people that desire power so much that they will ruin the life of our children and our grandchildren. They'll ruin it. Hold the line. We've got to stop them. And we're going to. Any words from you, Mary Ellen, before we go?
No, thanks for being here. I'm going to just remind people, we do have a website, nicholslive.com. We have also a neversocialism.net. We're not doing much there other than just putting something up, but there will be more in the future there. So right now, just nicholslive.com is the website. There will be links to the Never Socialism when we have more than just an introduction there. Folks, this is not just fundraising for Larry. Buy a t-shirt that says Never Socialism. You can get it on the nicholslive.com website. We need to be promoting our message, and that is something you can do to help yourself to start a conversation with people. So, and we have bumper stickers available as well. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate all that you have done for Larry and for the team, and get geared up. We got work to do.
That's right. All right, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Now, if I do Jason tomorrow, we will come on at 3 Central instead of 2. But Mary Ellen will post it for you to know. But likely as not, I think I'll be on with Jason unless he's got a court situation. But I'll let you know as soon as I know. And Mary Ellen will post it.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Thank you all.
Bring more tomorrow. Spread the word. And please like this video. It helps the algorithms. And please share it on social media so we can get the word out and grow the audience. It's time to rebuild. Thanks a lot. Bye.